Okay, once again, I am your host, Mrs. M. I'm so excited to show you what you need to do to win big with government contracts. I've updated this to show you all about grants. There are a lot of grants out there, so if you don't have any money to start your venture into government contracts, no worries. There's a lot of things we can do. So let's get started. My big promise is by the end of this workshop masterclass, and I call it a workshop masterclass because I want you to put some work in. I want you to, pull up your sleeves and get your pen and paper out, write down some things that you can implement absolutely today. I know people go from workshop to masterclass, and they never take the notes and then implement. Everything you write down doesn't really matter if you don't implement it. So we're going to look at what we need to do to make that happen. So what we need to know is there's two ways to win contracts. You can bid, it's called open competition. And there are other ways where it's called no bid. I'm going to go into both of those. For those of you who are just getting started, you may find both methods attractive, and you can absolutely use both methods when it comes to finding the contracts. So like I said, I am your host, Mrs. M. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to make sure that I give you as much clarity and understanding as I can so that you know exactly what you need to do in 3 areas. The basic requirements. What do you need to do to get started? Next is going to be, what do you need to do once you've gotten in SAMs? A lot of people register in SAMs, but now what do you do once you've registered? And number 3, where do you find the bids and how do you submit them? I'm going to show you an actual bid that's due today at 4 o'clock that you can see is not that difficult. So that's what I want to make sure I show you. Now, we're only going to be on here between 45 minutes and an hour at the most. So for those of you that want to learn more than what this time allows me, I'm going to give you a way at the end of the masterclass to join me so that you can learn more if that's something you're interested in. Also, for those of you that stay to the end, there is one thing that is a part of the mandatory of what you have to do. And that's your capability statement. Your capability statement is that 1-page resume that the United States government is looking for you to be able to stretch your stuff and show them what you've got. So I'm going to show you that. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you an outline of an actual step-by-step on what you need to do to prepare your CAPE statement. Now, these CAPE statements sometimes go for $100 to $200 to $300. You can check it out yourself so you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that have been in the space for a little while, you know those CAPE statements can be very valuable because they tell the government exactly what you're doing. I'm going to give you an outline for those of you that stay to the end so you can see. And these are actual capability statements that have won money. They have won millions of dollars in contracts. This isn't just something that I put together that I hope works. I know that it works because it's worked for me and for some of our other students and clients. Okay. So now this is Richard. Richard had no experience. I repeat, no experience in government contracts. He had no previous contracts and he won his first one for over $33,000. Also, we have several people just like you and I started out just like that, had no team, no money. I was working part-time and knew that I wanted something more than what I had. And I also was able, with no team and no money, was able to win contracts as well. So I'm going to make sure I show you exactly what you need to do. Now, this is one of our students that this was April the 5th. She benefited from our course. We love, love, love for people to be able to go on and make money in government contracts. So that is that's one of the results we look for. Okay, so we already talked about the end, getting the CAPE statement. So let's look at who is this for. You know exactly if you are tired of that 9 to 5. It's like, I'm tired of it. It's not working for me anymore. Or you love it, but you still want to do government contracts. Or you've been in the cleaning industry now for a minute and you want to do commercial and government. I know that's what I did. I did commercial cleaning and I did government because commercial can be short term. Government is long money. It's long term. So you can utilize both. And the other thing is you have heard, okay, this is what you need. This is what you have to do. SAMs, certs, all of that stuff. What does it mean? Why does it matter? And what do you need to do to make money right now, right in this moment? Okay. So like I said, my big promise is to make sure at the end, I've covered all of this. So let's look at what you're going to learn. Number one, there are main things you must do, basic requirements in order to even be able to bid. Number two, where do you find the buyers that are looking for our stuff? I'm going to show you that screen. And number three, how do you actually find the government opportunities? I'm going to show you that as well. So a little bit about me so you understand why I feel so passionate about this. I was actually in the Air Force, loved it, but I was actually allergic to the little gas mask we had to wear. So I had to say bye-bye after 12 years. But while I was in, I learned a lot about government contracts. I was in that field where we did a lot of government contracts. So when I got out, I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and opened a boutique because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But what I didn't like was that was something people would just kind of wanted. So when the economy was different, or when people wanted to spend their money on something else, guess what? They didn't buy the clothes because clothes aren't something that people feel. They do it when they want to. It's not really recession proof is what I'm saying. Depending on what type of clothes were, these were like more luxury clothes, so they don't really need those, okay? So I realized if I want to be in business, I want to find an industry that people absolutely need. Our industry is that right now, between commercial, government, and residential, we're looking at somewhere towards $532 billion with the B in people looking to do business with us. Okay, so there's two things I want you to know. 80% is mental and 20% is external. What you're going to learn here today is the 20%. What works up here in your mindset, that's the 80. That's the stuff that when you learn it, you do something with it. So I want you to really think about that. And one of the reasons why that works is when you have a really, really good, compelling reason why you want to do it. My big reason is I love freedom. I love freedom. When I was working a 9 to 5, I had to ask when I could go on vacation, how long I could stay. I lived out of state from where my mom is. So whenever she came to visit, I had to hope I could take off. I didn't want to do that. So I decided I'm going to make something happen for me. I'm going to own my future. And I started doing my commercial cleaning. And within 9 months, I was able to get it over to 6 figures. It wasn't easy. It wasn't a cakewalk, but I knew it could be done because other people had done it. And then I added the government cleaning and it was a wrap. I mean, I didn't have to look back. I have never, ever, ever had a 9 to 5 since then. And guess how long that's been? Well over 26 years. So like I said, no team by myself, no previous government contracts. You can do it as well. So this was my first little team. We started with daycares. Why did I do daycares? Because daycares were easy to get, meaning they were lower hanging fruit. The decision makers were in there. Now, one of the things I must say, for those of you that have never done cleaning before, no cleaning, I would highly suggest you do some before you go after government contracts. What I mean by that is you either need to clean a nonprofit, a church. I would love for you to actually have the experience of cleaning to make sure you like it. You've got to make sure you like that type of work. Now, I didn't do it but past 2 years. I actually did the cleaning, and then 2 years into it, even though I had made the 6 figures, I wanted to understand all of that came with it. What was the problem? What was the complaint? I couldn't know that if I was sitting somewhere else. I had to be in the trenches, and I had to learn. 2 years into it, I was able to build a team where I didn't have to do any of the physical work, and I was able to grow the business because I was working on it and not in it. So my way of teaching you is to get to well over 6 figures and beyond, where you can have a team of a receptionist, someone doing your sales, someone doing the cleaning, where you can scale the business, sell the business if you like, leave it for generational wealth, and have the freedom that I've talked about and enjoyed. So that's the way I talk about setting it up. So I am an actual disadvantaged veteran woman-owned business. Those are the certifications. I'm going to show you a couple of those and explain what certs are. You probably heard all about certs, set aside, all of that. I'll get into that in a minute. I had contracts with Veteran Affairs, one of our best customers, one of our best. GSA, one of our best, Homeland Security, FEMA. And I'm going to show you a screen right now today that's using us the most. It changes, so I don't know what it is, but we're going to find out together. This is me. How did I end up in the classroom? Well, I was doing the cleaning, and then I moved to doing the actual working on the business. And I started having subcontractors come to me and say, hey, can you show me how to do what you're doing? How do you find the contracts? How do you end up doing it? They wanted their own business. They didn't want to just sub. So I started teaching people where to find the contracts in commercial and in government. And when we combine those two together, pow. So I still travel. I usually go to places 4 times out of the year. This is me in Atlanta or in Atlanta or DC or something like that. I don't really remember, but I know that I love what I'm doing. And now I'm able to show you guys from the comforts of your home, office, wherever you are. And I'm able to do this once a week and hopefully give you the results of what you need to do. Now, our actual results have been 96%. 96% of the individuals that have come, whether as a student, as a client, have gotten contracts. So we're really proud of that, being able to make those results in people's lives. Okay. So now this is a video that I like to share, and I'm going to go to why. Okay. So this is a young lady. Let me bring this up a little bit. So she's talking about her experience. So So that's Terry's story. Let me look and see what we have in the chat. Hello there. Hi. How are you doing, Rhonda? So that's Terry's story. I love showing Terry's story because she had no experience. She's all by herself, and she made that happen. So if Terry can do it, she just won. She just called me on yesterday, and now she's on her second contract. She said, Sam's a little slow. They wanted to make sure, because when you go into Sam's and you get set up, they want to have your pay. She's ready to get paid. She won her contract with the Department of I think it was Department of Agriculture. And she is going around picking up trash, or she has a team. She subbed it out or got employees. I don't remember which one, but she has a team. She set aside a little bit of money And then she got a subcontractor. So she didn't have to pay them for 30 days. She didn't have a lot of money. I think her mom just died. So life got in the way, but Terry still made it happen. Let's see what the other chat is. I didn't hear it. Oh, I am so sorry. What she was saying was, she's on her Facebook group. She was saying that she came to us. She didn't know anything about it. We showed her what she needed to do. She then used that knowledge to go on and find a bid. And this is the key. They said that you have to do a walkthrough. She was the only one that showed up for the walkthrough. That's the key. She was the only one. So she automatically won because everyone else didn't, no one else, they said we're going to show up, but they didn't. And so that's the key. Even if you don't have some bids ask for like maybe 1 or 2 references, go anyway. You can see how the walkthroughs work. You get a chance to get the experience. You might meet someone that you can team with. It's so worth it. She went to the walkthrough, went through it, and voila. She has won 1 contract. Now Terry's on her 2nd one. And I'm so proud of her because she didn't think she could do it. She thought it was going to be complicated. So that's the reason why I like to just show her story, because definitely it can happen. So now, if you've been struggling and you feel like you have no system, I'm going to give you a system and show you what you need to do. So here we go. The 3 secrets of government contracts. Number 1, there are basic requirements we have to meet. And I'm going to show you those right now. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to show. Okay, the very first one is you must have your EIN, Employee Identification Number. EIN number, you're going to go to irs.gov. You're going to put in EIN right here. And when you put in EIN, you put search. These are absolutely free. You can apply for 1 a day and you can get it between 7 and 10 Eastern time. That's the first step. When you're doing your EIN number, you want to make sure you use a physical address. It can be your apartment. It can be your office. It can be anything, but it has to be physical. It cannot be a PO box. They kind of let you get through it with a virtual address. You can go to iPostal, IPOSTAL, $10.99. You can get a virtual address. Now, if you are doing a limited liability company, they normally don't frown on that. If you're doing a sole proprietor, they may. So to be on the safe side, try to get it in your home address, in your apartment, in your home, in your office. This takes all of 5 or 6 minutes. The most important thing I want you to know is when you come here, you need to already know what business entity structure you want. Do you want to be in a limited liability company? Do you want to be a partnership? Do you want to be a sole proprietor? Do you want to be a C Corp? All of those are going to matter because that's how we get taxed. The EIN is directly related to the IRS, which is all about the taxes. They want that money. So they want to know how you're going to do it. Okay, boom. Now we're done with their EIN. We've printed it out or we've taken a photo of it. That EIN is like our social security number for our business. Do not lose it. If you do, you've got to start all over and get another EIN. Now, it doesn't matter if you haven't opened up a bank account and all that, but it does if you've done some things with it. So try to hold on to it. I always have my phone with me, take a photo of it, and then print it out just in case my paperwork, my printer goes out. They can mail it to you, but it takes like 4 to 6 weeks. So you may as well print it out and keep a copy in your records. So now we've gotten our EIN number. And we know we want a limited liability company. That's what I'm going to teach. Very, very simple. Now, I want to go to my state and get my LLC. The state of Florida, we just had to do all of our annual reports. Very simple. It's just basically going into your Secretary of State, Secretary of State of California, Florida, whatever it is. There are places where you can pay upwards to $300 or $600. Now, do I believe in paying for service? I have an actual consulting person that I get consulting from. Yes, I do. If it's something that's going to take me a long time to learn, or I want a blueprint, I am definitely a believer in that. But if it comes to, if I don't really have the money, and there are times when I first got started, I didn't, then I want to spend mine on something that's going to reap the benefits, return on my investment quickly. And if I can register my own company, I can save that $300 to $600 because this takes all of maybe 5 minutes. Time is money. Wealthy people buy time. A lot of us, we sell our time. So we want to get in the position of buying time so that we can use that time to do things that bring us more money. That's the way you want to start looking at that. So when it comes to getting your LLC, you can absolutely do it yourself. You can go, I first suggest you go on to GoDaddy.com to make sure the domain name you want to use for your business is available. Mine was Encore Facility Services. So I made sure it was available. Next, I went to where I want to register my company with my state to make sure it was available. It may be available online, but it may not be available in your state. So I simply went to record search, searched it, and then I went to start a business. If you're not ready, make sure you reserve that name. There are places that will let you reserve it for free, and there's some places, some states that charge you. R is $150 for us to get an LLC. Sole proprietor depends on. But you see e-file, you sit right down here and you do it, costs about $150, comes back in 7 to 10 days. You can ask for a copy, or you can simply go online and you will see your company is available. Most of the ones I've seen, I've done them in Texas and a lot of different states for different customers and students. And it usually takes about 5 to 7 days. Some are instant. I think the state of Virginia, it's very quickly. So that's what you want to look at. Now you have registered, and this is a key. You want to make sure that you use the same exact address on your EIN paperwork that you, or that your LLC that you use your EIN. You have to have 2 pieces of paper that match. Okay, you want to make sure you do that. So now let's see what the question is. Okay, file chart, fit to set up a register with your state. Okay, well, if you can spend $50 with Inc. file charges 50 to set up with your state, then that's great. Because I know LegalZoom charges to do things. I think they act as a registered agent. And if you are a resident of your own place, you can do it. So for $50, if you are busy, that's definitely worth the value. Only you know what the money and the value are. What's valuable to one person, that's why value is perceived. What's valuable to someone else, and thank you so much, Rhonda, for giving us that information. What's valuable to someone else may not be value. $50 to someone may be all they have. I've had people say they don't have any money to get started, and I get that because we are, we're different stages of our lives. So for $50, that's a good value for someone that has the maybe don't have the time, but have $50. Okay, so now we have gotten our division of corporation, and I am now still in the basics. So now let's see, we've gotten our LLC and our EIN. Now, I told you earlier that there is a thing called your capability statement. This is the capability statement of what we give our students. It is easy to, you can just go on and edit it. You can see I can take the G off. You can put in your company. You can put in your past performance. She had 3. This is an actual format that we've used to win millions of dollars for ourselves and our customers, and our students have used this. They have a QA code or QR code you can download. And this is where you have what they call company at a snapshot, your phone number, your email, your address, what area you're working in. Then you talk a little bit about yourself and your core competencies. Your NICS codes go right here. She only has the one. You can put as many as you like, but SAMS only identifies, I think it's 5. You can put as many as you want on your NICS code on here. I highly suggest if you've got several and they're not all together, use more than one capability statement. If it's like a resume, if I'm a HR person, but now I'm going after janitorial, they don't really go together. So I would have one capability statement for HR and one for my NICS code, which is the 561720. If you're looking at doing facility services, that's 561210. So I think Windows is a little different as well. NICS code, if you want to know what it is that 6 numerical characters that the government assigns for what kind of job you're going to offer them or what kind of services. If you want to do services, you can by all means give and sell janitorial services. And you don't have to do the actual service. You can do supplies and equipment. I have people that do nothing but supplies and equipment. They work with FEMA. FEMA's a big one. They work with FEMA or Veteran Affairs or something. And all they do is give school equipment, especially during the new school year. They really do well. So if you're in an area that you don't want to do the services, you can do the supplies and equipment. You do the same exact way, register with Sam's, same thing. She put her core competencies and her differentiators. And this right here is one of the things you absolutely have to have. Now, our students get this easy breezy, put your logo, and of course you want to customize it. You want it to fit you, but we do give you some things. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We do give you some things that work. So if it works, then, just kind of add your own personality to it and then go with that format. You will receive the categories that you need, but you will not receive this template. I just wanted to share this with you so you would see what they kind of look like. You don't need to have them, looking with 50 different colors. They do basically like red, white, and blue. And that is that. So hopefully there's no questions on the CAPE statement. It is mandatory. You cannot do government without the CAPE statement. So that is one of the things you absolutely have to have. Now, let's go back to, we've got our EIN, our LLC. I've shown you your capability statement. I've covered what the NICS code is. You go to nixcode.com. If you want to look up others, you just put in a keyword. It takes you right to what your NICS code is, so you know what to offer the government. And like I said, you can put as many as you want. Only on SAMS.gov, you can only put in 5, and you have to put in a primary. You have to choose one that's going to be your primary, and the rest are secondary. Okay. Now, one of the advantages we have is that we know there's a lot of agencies that use us. So this is usaspending.gov. Any contract between $3,000 and $250,000 has to be awarded by law to a small business like us. Has to. And they can award between 3 and 50 without any bidding. It's called a no bid. So they can go up to 10,000 with a simple credit card. They will pay you on a P card, which is a government purchase card, and you sign up for that in SAMS. It asks you, do you accept government credit cards? It's within the area of SAM when you're putting in your banking information. It's the very top. If you hit yes, you want to go and get a merchant account at your bank. Merchant account. They will not use third party, no PayPal, none of that. It has to be with your bank, and you have to have it set up where you can accept a government credit card, merchant bank account. That's what you need. Now, they can do several. I personally did a micro purchase, no bidding, 10,000 and under. How did I get that micro purchase? By marketing to the government buyers. So now I'm going to show you that, and we'll wrap up in SAM, because SAMS is where we find everything else. So I'm going to kind of go and show you the marketing piece. Let's say we've already done everything I'm going to show you in SAMS, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And now what happens? I've registered in SAMS. Well, there are millions of companies that are registered in SAMS. So just registering in SAMS is not going to get you a contract, not by itself. A lot of people think it will, but it won't. So now let's see what else we need to do. Let's come to usaspending.gov so we can see what agencies is using us the most. And we're going to put in janitorial services. We're going to make sure that we look at the fiscal year we want to look at. We want to look at fiscal year 2021. And then we're going to hit submit search. Now I'm going to come over here and hit categories. And it's going to break it down to right now today, which category is being used the most. Right now, the Department of Health and Human Services is using 3 trillion of our services. Last week, it was Social Security. This week is Department of Health and Human Services. What I want you to do is write down three of these. So let's go to the top. Now, remember, the young lady, Terry, she won hers at the Department of Agriculture. That was the forest agency. So remember, it's like a pyramid. You have a top agency, and then there's some underneath. They're called sub-agencies. That top agency was the Department of Agriculture. The sub-agency was the Forest Services. Forest Services are in charge of all those little porta potties you see, or rest areas throughout your state. That's what it is. She won a federal contract. You could have won a state one, but she won a federal one. There's local, state, and federal. She won a federal one. She was registered in SAM. That's why she said she found it in SAMS. She looked it up, and they were throughout her state, but it was a federal contract, not a state one. Okay. SAMS shows you federal contracts. And there are other bidding platforms that show you local and state and federal. We use one, which I'll tell you about in a little bit, that gives you all three: local bids, state bids, federal bids. Sam's only gives you federal. She used the Department of Agriculture. Right now, the Department of Health and Human Services is in charge of Medicaid, Medicare, children's services. So there's probably one in your state. There's probably Social Security in your state. There's probably a Department of Defense, which is military. There's definitely a Veteran Affairs. Why do I want them to be in your state? Because I want you to market to those contracting officers. Who is the contracting officer? The contracting officer is the one person that can bind a contract. They can bind it either with bidding, which is called open competition, or no bid, which I just explained to you, which is called it's called a micro purchase. That's up to 10,000. So let's look at how the process works. I'm a contracting officer. I need you to come and clean my Air Force Base. I fill out the bid solicitation, and then I put it on a bid platform like SAM. You have already done all your registering in SAM's, and now you're looking for a bid. You go in there and you find this bid. One of the things you want to do is you want to try to build a relationship with one of these agencies in your local area by sending them an introduction letter. An introduction letter is what you want to do to kind of start getting your name out there before you have the bid. You could do that the first week you registered for SAM's. You don't have to wait. Introduction letter. It should say who you are, what is your company, and why. What is it about your company that sets you apart? Our main thing that we use was quality air. We had a system, didn't cost any money, but we went and got this air filtration that read what the air filter was or what the air quality was. And we specialized in that. So our differentiator was quality air. And if you don't know it, the indoor air is usually worse than the outdoor air. So that was something that we use in commercial and in government. And we talked about what the results were. Better air, less asthma. Asthma triggers. Better air, usually you're going to have less of the allergens that's going to affect your employees, which is going to really make the health costs go up, which is going to affect you. Your bottom line. So if we can bring down or improve the quality of air, then guess what? You're going to save money. And don't tell me that's not going to be really something that someone's going to want, whether with their government agency or their commercial. So I want you to start writing down, what are you going to bring to the party? Now, our students and our customers, we actually have a template that they download. If it's a client, we do it for them. We come up with something that works well with your personality. I believe when you market to fit your personality, if you're a real big person on customer service, do something in your business that's really, really about customer service. If you're really big on guarantees, do something with the guarantee. That's what I want you to think about. Don't look in that other person's lane, stay in your lane, what fits you. Because when you do that and you're authentic, you will reap the benefits. Trust me. I know that because I've had it happen again and again for myself and for our customers and our clients. Okay. Our students and our clients. So write down 3 agencies, no more than 3. Write down 3 agencies that you think are in your area. I've given you what is almost in every area, no matter where you live. And I want you to start crafting that introduction letter. And I want you to start sending it out. Email. When you go to these agencies, you should be able to go on your local area, find the agency. You should see the procurement. It'll say procurement buyer, or it'll say government buyer. Start building that relationship. The number one reason why some people win contracts and others don't. Now, I've had people that didn't know anyone and they've won $500,000-$600,000 contracts. And I've known people that did know some and won $500,000-$600,000 contracts. The difference could come down to whether or not you have a website. Definitely need one. Could come down to how many references you have, depending on the kind of bid. Do you have past performances? That may make a difference with some bids, not all. Like I said, the young lady we did today didn't have any. I had a guy that won, his bid was yesterday. He won. One of our clients, he didn't have any relationship with the buyer. But the key is we want to create a system. We don't want a one-off. We want to have a system and a strategy about how we do our business. That's how we get to the 6 figures and beyond. Okay. And so we want to have something that makes sense. We don't want to just hit or miss. So building that, having that letter, finding what agencies are near us and going to some networking events, also being out there, going to those agencies now. COVID has kind of opened up the areas. I'm in the DC area. I'm physically located in DC. I'm actually in Virginia, which is about the northern part of Virginia is about 20 miles from DC. I go into DC often and I know exactly what they're looking for. And I ask, why did you choose one company and not another? The first thing they do is they write out what they want. The next thing they do is they go into SAMS and see if you're registered. They may not know who they're looking for. They are looking for someone in Orlando, Florida. I'm a contracting officer in Orlando, Florida. I'm looking for someone to come out and help clean parts of Disney World or something. First thing I'm going to do is go into sam.gov and I'm going to see all the companies that are in that are small businesses. Remember, 3,000 to 250,000. There may be quite a few. How am I going to narrow it down even more? I'm then going to go to their DSBS profile, which I'm going to show you what that is. Dynamic Small Business Search. Only small businesses can be in that. It's going to narrow it down even more. I may take 25 or 30. I'm then going to do my research and go to everyone's website. I'm going to look at their capability statement. Is their capability statement on their website? What does their capability statement look like? Then I'm going to look at everything I need in your SAMS. Your SAMS tells me how long you've been in business, how many employees you have, what is your primary NICS code. I can tell what your revenue is. All of that is in your SAMS, your capability statement, and your DSBS profile. So I have a very clear picture of who you are. Now, if everything looks good, I am going to reach out to you. I'm going to use that email on your website, your CAPE statement, or on your SAMS profile and contact you and say, hey, I have a bid. I'm going to send it to you. I'd like for you to fill it out and send it in. They can absolutely give you that bid without bidding. They can give it to you as a non-bid because it's up to the discretion of that contracting officer to make a decision that you're the best fit. That's all they have to say. Looking at their information, they're the best fit for the job. Boom, you have it. Now, one of the ways you can get known is by sending out those introduction letters and marketing to the government buyers by choosing agencies that are near and dear to you in your area that you can start going to visit physically and start sending out those letters. Now, because we are pressed for time, we have a whole system. We show you how to craft it, what to do. Our students get a chance to put it all together and we send it out with a rhyme and reason. And the number one thing, like I said, we work on is a differentiator. And let's answer that question. What if you're just getting started with no revenue? What should put 0? If you're just getting started, do not, like I said, the young lady that was on here, none, 0. She had no revenue in her company. She used to do one company and she was just starting a new one. So the company in Sam, she had no revenue, none. I know I got started with no revenue. So if you're looking at doing a contract that is like 500,000, then come on, we're going to need a little bit more. But if we're looking at these sweet spots that people don't even think about, 25,000, it may be $25,000 for a year. That might be what, $1,500. But guess what? It gives you two things. It gives you a chance to see if you like it, and it gives you a chance to get your foot in the door. So between 3 and 250,000, you probably don't need a lot of anything in your SAMs. But if you start to grow, they are going to look to start seeing those things. Oh, you're welcome. So that's kind of how you want to do. Do not get hung up on no revenue, no past performance. Don't do that. I'm telling you, I've seen people win time and time and time again without any of that because they've followed some of our steps. Like the young lady said, she followed some of the steps we taught her how to do. She went online, she knew what she was doing, and voila, she's got a contract she's getting paid for right now. Okay, are there any questions about the marketing piece? Okay, now we're going to get out of here. And I just like to show you that there are grants. You want to go to grants.gov. You do have to be registered in SAMS. There's federal grants, there's state and local. The easiest ones are your local one. Okay, your local grants are the easiest. Call your Congress people, tell them you want to know what grants are out there, and they will tell you. All right. Federal grants are a little bit more challenging. State grants are a little bit more challenging. Local grants, low hanging fruit. We have a student right now that won a client that won a $50,000 grant, 50K. He is in Massachusetts, 50K. No previous experience, any of that. Okay. Now, those are all about the grants. Let's get off of there. Now we're at SAM. So let's look at our presentation for a second, and then I want to wrap up. I want to show you one more thing about subcontracting and certs. So no, you do not, it's not challenging to get started. We've talked about our EIN. I'm going to show you the UEI, the SAMs, the DSPS, and I've showed you the CAPE statement. We've talked about marketing. You don't have to have previous experience, but you do want to have a strategy and a system. And now we're going to find those bids. Okay. So now we're going back, sam.gov. Once you've done your EIN, your LLC, you want to have your website up and your capability statement. You're going to come to SAMS. You can do your capability statement last, but you definitely want to come register SAMS, because by the time you get your CAGE code, you can then work on your website and your CAPE statement. You're going to come here. This is where you register for SAM. For those of you that are just getting started, you're going to come here and you're going to hit accept. And if you have never done it before, it's going to automatically bring you to login.gov. You're going to put in the email you want to be associated with. I highly suggest as you grow, you get rid of the Gmails, Yahoo, and all that, AOL and all that. They want to see professional domain names. GoDaddy, email, there you go. Password, create your password. And you're going to go into create an account. It's going to send it to that email. You have 24 hours to use that link. Once you use the link, it's going to bring you right back to sam.gov. Once you use that link and you sign into SAMS, you're going to go to get started. And this is where you're registering to get that UEI number. It used to be DUNS. Now it's called Unique Entity Identifier. Okay. This is where you come. You're going to go with simply get started, or if you're renewing, you're going to hit renew entity. Once you do that, it's going to talk about some things you're going to need. You can see right here, there is a checklist, and it's going to talk about what you need. So this checklist kind of goes through it. A little checklist that you've got right here. This is what we, give to our students as well. And we, have everything that they need to, it's like 18 pages, but that is the checklist. Let's go ahead and go back to SAM. And this right here is where you have to register before you legally allowed to win a bid. It's going to take you maybe an hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. You're going to go all the way through. It's going to ask you questions. Are you a business? What's your phone number? What's your address? Now, it's going to do what they call a validation. That's where a lot of people getting stuck. They want to see if your business is registered with the state. Sometimes they can find it. Sometimes they can't. DUNS would have you upload 2 documents, and they would then go look, and it would come back within 24 hours if they found it. Okay. SAMS, they have what they call an incident report. If you do not see your company when you put it in, it will instantly come up and say, are any of these your company? If none of those are your company, then you would say no. And it will come back and say, well, we don't see your company. You then want to upload your LLC to show that you've registered with your state, because you have to do that first. Remember the order we did it in. And then they are going to have you fill out an incident report. Now, there are people that are kind of confused on what to do. They're taking anywhere from 5 to 9 days to come back with what we call a validation. That is one of the things you have to do before you can go on and fill the rest of the SAM out. During the filling out, you're going to see about putting in all your information we just talked about. You're going to go and put in your NICS code. You're going to go through and put in your bank account information. And there is certain things that you can fill out in SAMS that are going to increase your chances of winning. All of it is like a puzzle. SAMS, what does your CAPE statement look like? Your EIN, all of that. So all of it kind of goes together and increases your chances. It's called a compliant SAMS profile. Once you get to the end, it's going to come up and say SBA. That's your small, that's called the DSBS, Dynamic Small Business Search. Why is that really important? Because no large company can go into that except for small companies. What do they consider a small company with SBA? They consider you a small company if you have not had over 19,500,000 in annual revenue. That's considered a small business, but that's still good because there are people that have Lockheed Martin's are billion companies. Well, they're in Sam's too. We're competing with the Raytheons, Lockheed Martin, and all of them if we didn't have our small business. Right before you get ready to hit your submit for Sam's, that profile is going to come up. Very important. Some contracting officers go straight there. They don't even go through SAM because in order to be registered with your DSBS, you had to have been registered in SAM's. Your DSBS profile, your dynamic small business profile should have 50 keywords. We have a list of those that are brought up more in the searches. It's a very important profile. Take your time. It's going to ask you to talk about your capability narrative. That's different than a capability statement. It's pretty much talking about what you're capable of, but it's called a narrative. And then you have your capability statement, which I showed you. And then there's this last thing that we actually give our students. It's called a capability briefing. Capability briefing could be when one of those procurement officer goes through, they like what they see, they go on your website, they may send you an email and say, hey, I've got some key players that want to meet you. Can you give us a briefing? That's called a capability briefing. We have it ready on PowerPoint. So you want to have that ready. Get you a capability briefing, simply go to PowerPoint, put it all together. And that's how you want to have your capability briefing. There's some key points you want. Like I said, it's already quarter till, so we really don't have the time to go into it, but capability briefing, capability narrative, capability statement, all three different. All are very important to getting to that contract. Now you've registered in STAMPS, you've done your DSBS profile, you're ready to go. So let's say you want to do some subbing. You don't want to do SAMS, you want to do subbing. So I'm going to show you the sub, let's see, it's right here. It's called Subnet. Right here. Let's see if we got it. So this is what the subnet looks like. You're going to choose your area. Say I'm in the state of Florida, and I'm simply going to look for my NAICS code. And I'm going to go down there and see if I see, and then you're going to also look over here because it could be listed in this area. So it's called the main one and then others. And so we're looking for 561-720, or we're looking for like janitorial or something like that. I just chose Florida. I didn't know if they have one or not. I'm quite sure they probably do in this area right here. With all these NAICS codes, I'm quite sure janitorial is in there. Let's say you find one, then you want to look to see, okay, he's looking for someone until 02/06/2023. This is the name of the company, and this is the person, and that's their email. They're going to want to know if you have your CAPE statement. They're going to look at your website, and there, because those subcontractors have a lot of skin in the game. They don't want you to lose an account for them, because if you lose a government account, you can't do business for 3 years with them. 3 years, you're out of gas. So you want to make sure that you commercial, you lose that account. Oh God, you don't want to, but you just lose that revenue. But government, you lose the opportunity for 3 years. It's called disbarment. Can you update your CAPE statement in SAMS? Your capability statements is not in SAMS. Your capability narrative for DSBS, and yes, you can. You're just going to go all the way through SAMS and update it. Your CAPE statement, you're just going to update yourself and put it on your website, but your capability statement does not go into SAMS. Okay. All right. So this is all about subbing. Now, the last thing I want to show you is there are all kinds of certs. This happens to be one called Hub Zone for small businesses. If you are in a certain type of area, and you can enter your address right here and see if you're in that area, you would qualify with some other things you have to do for a Hub Zone. One of the business certs are small disadvantaged business. You can certify for that. Woman-owned, 8A, there is state and federal. So these are federal. Do they matter? Yes, they do. Would I put it on a list to make sure if I'm really serious about government, would I spend the time doing this? Absolutely, I would. You can win millions of dollars in government contracts through the life of your business, millions. There's a young lady in DC, they call it a $20 million woman. She's, has over $20 million in contracts any given year. She's grown. I mean, she's been doing it for a while. It's not like an overnight thing. So start small, focus on one thing, really get good at that. choose an industry, your NICS code, and really, dial down and really, I always like to niche down because the money is in that one little focused area. Try not to be all everywhere. Trying to do, landscaping and, landscaping and all that's fine, but trying to do HR and IT and, 5 different NICS codes that have nothing to do with each other, carpet cleaning, landscaping, windows, those are together. They make sense. They go together. They complement each other, but try not to be all everywhere. So there are lots of certs. They, like a woman-owned small business, probably one of the largest, other than the 8A. 8A is the best. You have to be in business 2 years or demonstrate you've made over $100,000. So they do want you to spend some time. All the rest of them, you don't have to have a time frame. Woman-owned, they said it's like $20 billion in, I'm sorry, is it 20? Yeah, 20 billion in contracts. For veterans, like 15 billion, small disadvantaged business, like 5 billion. Billions of dollars are set aside when your company is certified. You have to be certified. That means you got to go through some steps to be certified to have this. Can you win contracts without it? Every day, all day. But if you want to do this for the long term, you want to get as many things that's in your favor as you can. So like I said, I promise I wouldn't keep you on longer than that. There's a lot of information that's kind of give you some pointers. So what I'm going to do is go back to our PowerPoint, finish up, and then see if there's any questions. So we've gone through the basic requirements. Let's see one thing. So EIN, business structure, UEI, SAMS, DSBS, and CAPE. So we've done that. Then I always talk about your mindset, what you're going to need, and you want to make sure that. And the last thing is I'm going to show you an actual contract. So this is an actual contract that we went after. Hopefully it shows up. Okay, it didn't. So let's see if we can bring it up real quickly. Let's see here. So let's go here to this bid. So I'm going to put in Jimmy's bid. Jimmy bid, here we go. Okay, and this is Jimmy's bid that's due today at 4. So this is his bid right here. And I just want to show you guys, this is called an RFQ, request for quote. Those are the best and the easiest for you guys. This is just all the things the safety, which you have to have. That's what, almost all of it is, just the fine print. This is a platform that we use ourselves to find the bid. We actually found this bid for Jimmy. And then when we get to page at the bottom, right here, this is all the bidding we have to do. It gives us the scope of work and talks about our trash. This is telling us what we have to do right here. And then we get to this part right here, talks about the lawn. And here is the bid right here. This is what the bid looks like. So we have to figure out what the unit is. 24 months is the unit. We have to figure out what the unit price is, and they want to know 80 hours, what your hourly rate is, 800 hours, and that's it. And then you total it out. This bid is for, I think, 3 to 4 years. You would submit this. You could do it via email. I think this one has to be done via email, and that's his bid. And we're crossing our fingers that Jimmy wins. So that is an actual bid that now I'm going to just show you one more thing. And that one more thing is, this is the actual school platform that we use. So Searchy, for our students, this is our school that we use. We use Searchy, and this is what ours looks like. So individuals that are students of ours, we make it really easy. You simply come in, you have a login, and this is what this is what it looks like. So it welcomes you to our course. And then we have right here, the basic requirements. You would click onto there, and it starts with you with your score. So it tells you everything you need to do, and you just simply follow it in a very easy pattern. We have attachables, all about the notarized letter, and you actually get everything. You get all of what you need. So this is what our platform is our actual school that we use. And what I love about it is, if you need any help, you can let us know. We do consulting with it as well. And you also get your score. So you see how much you've completed, which you haven't. So now we're going to wrap up. So For those of you that thought it was hard, hopefully this masterclass went through everything from the beginning to the end of the bid process. I said I would show you about the basic requirements. Hopefully I did. How to market. Hopefully I did. And I want to show you one last thing, which is how to find a contract. So let's go to SAM. And this is where you're going to find a contract opportunity. You're going to simply come to contract opportunities. You're going to have to log in with that email and you're going to put your search right in there. Now, it won't come up now because I have to be logged in. When you bring that up, it's going to bring up opportunities. We actually use a platform. Oh, great. We actually use a platform that we have where we get all the bids for government, for, K through school, K through 12 schools, university, anything in the state, local, and federal, we actually have that bid. So we have that as well. So now you can make a decision. You've got the change of false belief. Oh, I can't do it. It's too hard. Now we know. You've seen people just like me, just like yourself. They had no past performance. They don't have the money, but they have the desire. So any excuse you've come up with, you got to throw it out because it won't work. No excuses. So now you simply need to put that into play. Now, like I said, winning government contracts not hard. Giving you the secret number one, basic, secret number two, marketing, secret number three, finding the bids. So like I said, at the end of this, for anyone that would be interested in our course that I showed you to learn all about it, it's called our B2G Simplified course. And what you would receive is that course I showed you, that independent study. You have access to it on demand. You actually get a login and all of that. It's designed for 8 weeks. It comes along with consulting. So on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, any questions you have, whether it's about SAMs or anything, hey, I've got a bid, we're here to help you. We have an actual success team that you call into and talk to. We have quite a few student testimonials that have done amazing things. Matter of fact, this gentleman's on his 5th one, Richard. This gentleman won his first one within 2 months, 538,000. He's one of our clients. Reason why he won, I think, very easily is because he was doing pest control. He was doing pest control and he started doing sanitizing, disinfecting in the state of Missouri. So because it was similar, I do believe that he had a little bit of an edge. So I always like to be transparent. Don't let you, think, oh, it was so simple. No, he put some work in and he did have a team. I think he had a team of 3 people, including himself. So I think that's why his contract size was so large. 5-year contract. This works for anyone that really wants to get started. And so, like I said, what you will receive is the independent training valued at $697. You would get that course where you can go to it anytime you want. Anytime we do any updates, you get it at no cost. SAMs and all that changes so often, you would get that at no cost. We have 8 weeks of weekly workshops on there as well that goes through frequently asked questions. You have all kinds of downloads and 2 weeks of bidding. We find the bids for you and we send them to your email after you've completed the course. That's the key word, because we want to give you some incentive to finish. We don't want you to spend your money. Don't spend your money with us or anyone else if you're not really serious and you want to do it, because you're wasting your money. And we give you the mindset modules. We give you goal setting and all of that. And all of that is for $397. And that is what you get also our private Facebook group where we do training. So you get the training videos, weekly workshop, online course that I showed you, your mindset, private Facebook, and 2 weeks of bids. So are there any questions? We do it for $397 for the next 15 minutes. And then it goes up to $497 until 2:30. And the normal price is $997 if you were to go to our actual website. Now, what I normally do is give you my number. If anyone is interested, I do like to have a conversation with you before you sign up. Just want to see where you are and make sure that you don't have any questions. And that's why I like to do that. I don't just have you sign up. That's not the way I do it. So if you do want to sign up, we do accept Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, and credit and debit cards. And I will stop sharing and put my number in here in the chat. So if anyone is interested in that, then you would just give me a call and we will get you We do a little 5-second little interview to see kind of where your head is, what kind of business do you have, and why? Why are you interested in cleaning? I'm a big why person because I think the why is everything. So are there any other questions at all? Anything? Anything at all on anything you've encountered? Any questions on government? Is it easy? Is it hard? Is it profitable? Anything at all? Doesn't have to be about this masterclass. Anything? Nothing? Okay. Well, once again, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you learned something. I hope you realize that it is definitely doable. Anyone has any questions or want to join me, definitely give me a call. And until next time, okay, Lakeisha, I will look forward, Lakeisha, I will look forward to seeing you. All right. So I will see you guys again soon and take care.